Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this special figure showcase we're going to be looking at an Autobot combiner, Superion. What we'll do, we'll have a look at him in his combined form there, right in the middle of the top of the screen. We're going to have a look at the individual jets and robots that combine to make him. I'm lucky enough to have a couple of different types of packaging of most of them, so we can have a look at that. I'll point out things that you need to be aware of if you're after purchasing some of yourself, and I'll show you some of the differences and variants that have come from around the world as well. So, starting off with then, as I say, here he is, right in the middle. This is Superion. He was one of the first Autobot combiners, and he was also known in the Scramble City range of figures. Now, what that means is that you could scramble and you could mix up all of the figures. So, for example, Skydive could either be either leg, or it could also be either arm as well. So this was a fantastic gimmick that they were running at the time, and also in Japan they had the cartoon Scramble City running as well. So really good tie-in, and it coincided, as I say, ever so well. He's a great figure. I suppose back in the day he was really tall. The problem with these big combiners is, though, of course, they do lack quite a bit of articulation, because the knee joint is basically where they are attaching, but at least the shoulder joints move. The big thing with Superion was his flimsy legs, and these are quite stiff, but as you'll see in a second when I go and try and stand him up, he may still fall over. So that was one of the biggest problems with Silverbolt. The good thing though was, like I've said, not only could you combine and mix around all the limbs, you could also do with any of the other figures that you had as well. It didn't have to be the aerialbots. You could mix and match him as much as you want. You can probably tell as well by the colours that he is very prone to sun fade, sun damage, that sort of stuff, and of course chrome damage. There's quite a bit of gold chrome on Silverbolt there, and of course, as I say, with the whites, especially poor old Slingshot there, he got quite easily sun yellowed. But there is the main combiner. He came out in 1986, and he was, as I say, part of Series 3 or Wave 3 of the Generation 1 continuity of toys. And see what I mean? Let's see if that's better. There we go. So we'll first and foremost then we'll have a look at the aerialbot leader, and this was Silverbolt, and he is the leader there, and he's got some lovely chrome on him, gold chrome, quite leggy though, but again, a lot of the articulation was missing in these figures, purely because the gimmick of the fact that he could combine was just so good. Especially, as I say, being a kid at the time, it was just so much fun to be able to do that with. So there is Silverbolt. He's got a mode. I'm not going to pick it up, I'm going to point at it. Can we see it? Yeah, you can. It's here. So it's sort of half ship, but it's based like a mini base. You could land, if I wanted to, I could land a jet on there, or if you've got any of the vehicles from the protector bots, they can go up and down the ramp as well. It was just a bonus base mode that the figures came with, and it also connects up to Metroplex as well, so you could also build a really large city. Here is his alternate mode. So we've got a Concorde. This one is a little bit battered, but unfortunately you can see it's missing the nose. That's something to be aware of, and you're always going to get this loose leg problem. Loose leg problem is terrible, so that's something to be aware of. But I think the alternate mode looks fantastic, especially obviously now as Concordes aren't even in existence. You know, it's like they were extinct. They definitely did exist, but they're not anymore. So he was the leader. Great big large jet, looked really good. We'll have a look at some of the packaging in a second. Let's have a look at one of the other members though. So we might as well start at the nearest one next to me, which is Skydive. And here we go. Now all these jets are very similar. You might have seen then that his legs pop up and down, and you do tend to get this a lot with a lot of the combining bots. It can be a bit of a problem with it. But nice, you know, nice colours, grey, black, bright red chest. There's the weapon that they, rather than fit inside the hand, all the weapons of the aerial bots, can we see? That's it. See, they just slot over the hands. So these weapons can get lost very easily, really easily. They can get lost. So let's have a quick look at him in his alternate mode as well. And what I'll do while I'm here, I'll show you some of the packaging with him. I haven't done the Silverbolt yet because it's all covered by the boxes, but there we go. The only downside, if you want to call it a downside, and let's be honest, of course it was that you could definitely tell that there were robots underneath, but oh well, it didn't make much difference when you were a kid and you were playing with them. But there he is, Skydive. He looks really good. And let's have a look at this packaging first then. So here he is on card. This is a English classic card that was released very early 90s, and there he is, nice and bright. Not much going on the back, unfortunately, just things that you already know that you need the rest of them to be able to build Superion. But there he is. There's Skydive. Let's move on. Hopefully not taking too much time. Slingshot. This guy actually at the moment, I think he seems to be the most expensive on eBay. Whether or not it is because he's hard to get like this, nice bright and white. It must be. It must be the reason. He seems to be the most expensive when I was looking on eBay recently. Great alternate mode there. The smallest of the jet, and I suppose unfortunately for poor old Slingshot, he wasn't really used, wasn't he? In the new Combiner Wars and that, they replaced him with Alpha Bravo, so we didn't even have a Slingshot. Only negative about this guy, apart from the other things, is look how thin he is. He's super skinny, and again you can see that the weapon has just slid onto his wrist there as well. He's got a bit of sun fade on the back there, so that's something to be aware of. Let's have a quick look at, let's go, in fact I've got two. So we've got the English version there, and you can tell it's English because all the language is in English. I know that's really obvious when I say it, but then we've got one here which is a dual Dutch and French language as well. So there he is in that, and I forgot with Skydive, but I'll do it quickly now. Here he is in his gig box, and this is the Italian version. They've changed his name to Vertic. He is unfortunately sun faded, you can see inside, but the best thing about this was they had these amazing little battle scenes on the back. So there's your two Titans, Triptychon and Metroplex. Unfortunately someone's had the robot points as well, but there we go. Right, moving over, Fireflight. Let's have a look at Fireflight. Great use of colour scheme, red, white. I just think they look really good, and of course the big thing about these at the time was it gave the Autobots an aerial faction, which we didn't have. It was all Autobot cars, although sometimes they flew in the episodes of the cartoons, and obviously Prime borrowed, it was one of their jetpacks anyhow, and obviously of course more than meets the eye, one of the very first ones, but they didn't really have flying bots, shall we say. So here he is in his alternate mode. This guy's got very loose joints as well, and there again is the slip on slide on weapon. Again, try not to dwell too much on these. I'm going to show you another version that I've got of that, which was on its own video as well. This is a UK serial Weetabix version of him that you could send off, mail away. It's still all sealed, it's still got his stickers in the back, so that's just a nice little one there. Right, I'm going to come around the other side. You probably wouldn't believe how long it took to set this up. No space in this room anymore. Moving around, last one then is of course Air Raid, and there he is. To be fair, he suffers quite a lot with sun fades, and it's really noticeable with the black contrast, so it's really notable if he goes yellow. And again, there's his weapon slid just over the wrist. Let's have a quick look at his alternate mode, and then we'll have a look at some of the boxed figures as well. So there's the alternate mode. Lovely. Again, really like these. They were really popular. Most people, from my memory looking back, had Superion. When we were kids, they seemed to be the most easily accessible, shall we say, of all of the combining robots. Now let's just see if I was just making sure he wasn't attached to it. So this is the standard Hasbro gift set. Obviously Silverbolt is out there. It's standard Hasbro, it's all in English, all the names are as they should be, so Silverbolt, Skydive, Fireflight, etc. The reason why I'm pointing out things which are quite obvious is in a second when I show you the gig box set, they've changed the languages, and they've changed the language, but they've changed the name. Right, there's the 85 battle scene, so you've got Grimlock, you've got the infamous red tracks there, Jetfire, and of course 6 tech specs, one for Superion himself. But this is a lovely gift set, really nice. Do really like it. Let's move back. In fact, before we come to the other, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to pick up this one here because this is a sealed classic Silverbolt, and you can see we've got a Woolworths price sticker there, $14.99 or $14.50 shall I say. Woolworths doesn't even exist in the UK anymore, so that's nice to see that on the back there. And then we've got a very boring battle scene. This is just a couple of Micromasters there that of course they were released at the time. 1989 it says on the box, that means it was released in 1990. And there we go, so we'll have a quick look at that while we were here. Let's have a look at the rest of the jets. Yeah, the reason I'm going to go back to a little jet box is because you can see that 51, 53 and 54, they're all gig. You've got the gig logo there, and as I say, they call it Transformer and they changed the name. But this one here is a Japanese version, and although they're exactly the same, because as I mentioned, Takara licensed Gig to make the products for them all the way around. But there you go, see it says Scramble City on it, and that just confirms basically everything what I was saying at the beginning. There is the same battle scene, and somebody else has had the robot points with that. Lovely, lovely little boxes. In fact, while I'm here then, let's take this off. This is the first, obviously, release of Silverbolt. So this is his original packaging. Lovely, still nice and glossy. And then we've got the two Titans. You've got your Metroplex and Triptychon there on the back as well. Let's get it lined up, that's better. This is obviously a really common battle scene used in a lot of the 86 figures. What I like is the fact that Takara flipped. They used the same characters, but they put them in their other modes. So I really like the fact that they did that. Coming around here quickly then, I'm going to just stay with the box before I go to the Gig set. And we've got the Spanish version of the classic box set. Again, it's still sealed, but you'll see they call it Líder Aerialbot, and his name is still Silverbolt. But they should have, no, they've still got exactly the same Micromaster battle scene on the back as well. Again, all Generation 1 issues just a couple of years after. So finally then, let's have a look at this Gig one. And oh, nearly. So you will see it pretty much is exactly the same, apart from, see it says Transformer there. Of course the language is in Italian, but then the cool thing is that they changed the name. So Silverbolt is Radiant, Skydive is Pentajet. It can't be now, he's Log, sorry, of course he's, I was going to say Pentajet's the name of the whole thing, so he's called Log there, number 2. Number 3, Optor is Fireflight, Vertic, as we've already seen, is Slingshot, and Tornado is Air Raid. There is the Gig logo, and Pentajet, which it says there, is basically the name for Silverbolt, not for Silverbolt, for Superion. And if we spin it around at the back, and this is something that some of you may or may not know already, see it's got 4 robot points. There is another version of this, an Italian version with 6 robot points. So one was a Macau and one was a Takara. So you've even got 2 different variants of exactly the same gift set. But this is the Gig Italian gift set. Nothing else was changed. Some of the Gig sets before, if they had firing missiles and firing weapons like the Constructicons and things like that, they just had stoppers in them to stop them from firing. But there we go. So there's a bit of a in-depth look there of Superion and all of his individual bots. What I'm going to do now, because I appreciate it's quite far away and you've probably had enough of my voice anyway, I'm going to pick the camera up and I'm going to scroll nice and quietly over them all, so you can just, yeah, take it all in and have a good look at them all yourselves without me waffling on, and get to see them all in a bit of detail. So before we finish with that, before I do that, rather, I'm going to, of course, say all the usual spiel. Keep your comments coming in, guys. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And of course, yeah, please take care. Send me some suggestions in. Although it takes ages to set these up, I do really enjoy it. And I hope you guys do as well. So here we go. I'm going to be nice and quiet. Okay guys, there you go. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I do honestly appreciate every single view that I have, and all the comments, whether they're negative, positive, as long as they're constructive, I can do my best to improve. Of course, again, I hope you enjoyed watching this and it brought back some lovely memories for you all, and please take care.